On a nice Monday, welcome into episode 4 of The Prospect Wizard. I am Greg Moraz, your host, The Prospect Wizard, and we thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't tuned into us before, well, welcome. This is your first experience, and we sincerely do hope that you enjoy the show. If you have not watched us or listened to us before, you want to listen to our first 3 episodes, check us out on SoundCloud, search Prospect Wizard. If you want to watch our video casts, go to YouTube and search Prospect Wizard. You can also follow us on Twitter at Prospect Wizard. Like us on Facebook. Our Facebook page is The Prospect Wizard. If you want to follow me on Twitter, you can send me a tweet at Greg D. Moraz. And if you want to write us an email, do so by typing in prospectwizard@gmail.com into your email browser. I use the Apple mail browser. You can use your Gmail account, Yahoo account. Do they still have Hotmail? Maybe Exelon still has mail? I don't know. If you've got email, send me one. I'd love to hear from you. Here's some suggestions for the show. Again, this is a no-budget podcast, so we do what we can with this $20 USB record headset and some equipment I had from past lives. So, our first 3 prospects that we have focused on: White Sox second base prospect Yoan Moncada, White Sox pitching prospect Lucas Giolito, and Rockies shortstop prospect Brendan Rodgers, all have one thing in common, and that is they have proven success at the minor league levels. Moncada and Giolito are both relatively big league ready. Brendan Rodgers is only 20 years of age, but his numbers have proved that if he continues to progress in the course of his career like many are expecting, he'll be in the bigs within 3 years. Now, our focus today is Padres hard-throwing pitching prospect Anderson Espinoza. And the reason why I want to talk about Espinoza is that this guy was the centerpiece of a trade that the Boston Red Sox this summer thought was going to bring them the starter that was going to put them over the top in Drew Pomeranz. Pomeranz, who found a lot of success a couple years ago with the Oakland Athletics, was then a member of the San Diego Padres, traded to the Red Sox for this hard-throwing Venezuelan righty who was signed out of Venezuela at just age 16. This guy is only 18 years old right now. He was signed in July of 2014 by the Red Sox. And he's got a really interesting body type because he's 6 feet exactly, and he's only 160 pounds. Now, you don't really see a whole lot of pitchers that are that small, but he's got great arm action because he can get it up to 100 miles an hour, and he sits at a range of 94 to 97. Now, Espinoza has really struggled since getting to the full A level. This season, he was at the low A level split between 2 teams, the Greenville Drive of the South Atlantic League, Red Sox system, and the Fort Wayne Tin Caps of the Midwest League, Padres system. Before coming over to the Padres, he was 5-8 with the Greenville Drive, with a 4.38 ERA in 17 starts, 76 innings of work, 72 strikeouts, 27 walks, an opponent's batting average of .269. Well, you have to think for a guy who is only 18, he'll turn 19 on March 8th, that those numbers are acceptable. And you have to say, in a league like the South Atlantic League, where you've got some ballparks in the Carolinas and in Georgia that summertime months, the ball's going to jump a little bit more, and some of those numbers are understandable. The thing that's a little bit alarming is coming over to the Midwest League, in a league that, having broadcast in that league, I can tell you, it's not a hitter's league. There are not a lot of ballparks in the Midwest League, especially in the Eastern Division, that are big hitters' ballparks. Espinoza really struggled. 1-3 record with a 4.73 ERA with the Fort Wayne Tin Caps, and an opponent's batting average of 290 in 32 and a third innings of work, 17 earned runs. He walked only 8, struck out 28, and a whip of 1.42. Espinoza has had some interesting seasons. His first full season in the minors with the GCL Red Sox, the rookie league team, he gave up just 3 earned runs in 40 innings of work as a 17-year-old, but making the jump straight from the GCL to low A, he significantly struggled. Now, it's obviously too early to make a determination on what this hard-throwing small guy is going to be able to do in relation to how he projects as a big league prospect. But be aware of this. Sorry, had a little bit of a health issue there. As anybody watching the video can probably tell, I was a little raspy there. But I just don't know what's going to happen with Espinoza beyond this year, because he struggled so much last year at the low A level. I wouldn't be surprised if the Padres keep him there once again. Now, San Diego, they don't have really a lot to lose at the big league level. They're focused on trying to develop talent that's going to get to the big league level to be stars, because they don't have a really desirable core at the big league level. This is a team that went all in 2 years ago in A.J. Preller's first offseason, and it completely busted out on them. So the Padres took the reverse approach, started to rebuild through the draft, and started to rebuild through trades like sending Drew Pomeranz away. But now you have to look at Anderson Espinoza and say, by the way, his Twitter is @ParKing, so either he really likes making par on the golf course, or he likes parking his car. So it could be parking or the Par King. I say Par King because, number one, I love golf, but number two, there was a mini golf course that I used to play back when I was living in Illinois called the Par King. By the way, if anybody has also played a mini golf course called the Par King in any other state that you may be watching or listening, please let me know. I would really like to check on the existences of all other Par Kings that do exist in the universe. Mini golf, certainly one of my favorite pastimes. I'm good at regular golf. Mini golf sometimes can struggle. But anyway, moving on. We don't have a lot to say about Anderson Espinoza other than the fact that he is one of those prospects that you have to look at as a high ceiling but unknown expectations, because his numbers are completely inconsistent from one year to the next. Now, you can make the legitimate argument that he was not ready for the full A level, and that was significantly more evident when he was with Fort Wayne of the Padres system than when he was with Greenville of the Red Sox system. I think the Padres have to start him in Fort Wayne again, and if he's productive, if he shows the ability to keep the ball down and not get hit nearly as hard as he did in Fort Wayne, any ERA I'd say below a 4, you bump him up to Lake Elsinore of the High A California League. But no further than that at this point in the year. But you've seen the Padres with guys like Walker Lockett have him go from low A to triple A in the same year. So it'll be interesting to see what the Padres do with Anderson Espinoza. I think that he will more than likely stay in Fort Wayne for the majority of this upcoming season. So that concludes episode 4 of the Prospect Wizard. coming up in our next episode, this guy was we talk about centerpieces of trades. Sorry, once again, having a little bit of a cough difficulty. Centerpiece of a trade that made a huge difference for the Cleveland Indians down the stretch run. That was the acquisition of Andrew Miller from the New York Yankees in exchange for what is now one of the Yankees' top prospects, Clint Frazier. And actually, we're going to do a double episode next time. We're going to talk 2 Yankee prospects because there were 2 big trades that netted the Yankees 2 huge prospects. Clint Frazier comes from the Indians. That's subject number 1. He was in the trade that gave Andrew Miller to the Indians. And our second prospect, Gleyber Torres, who came to the Yankees from the Cubs in exchange for Aroldis Chapman. So, that's all for now on the Prospect Wizard. We'll be back on Tuesday with our episode highlighting Clint Frazier and Gleyber Torres. Good night for now.